All right, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including iTunes. Please do not forget to rate and review us on iTunes. Leave a 5-star review. You can say whatever you want to say. Just make sure it's 5 stars. You can talk about how I just do not know what I'm talking about, but my guests are really good. And I have an example of that right here. Shay Hodge is nice enough to join us today. How you doing, Shay?
Man, I'm doing excellent, man. How about you?
Pretty good. Before we get started and everything, you were kind of helping out Mike Espy with his trainer program before, and now you're like coaching at JA, right?
Not necessarily wasn't helping. We started to get D1. He brought me into the business. Then we kind of branched off and had our own things going, and having some of the top prospects in Mississippi. And then I transitioned into actually coaching at JA. But the way you said it.
yeah, it was nothing to do. I guess it's just because Mike Espy is always promoting that. I guess you always see stuff from Mike out there on Twitter and everything, so I just assumed.
It does look like I'm the little brother.
So before we get started and everything, some of the younger guys that are coming through that, with some Mississippi kids that maybe we need to keep an eye over in the next couple of years.
We have plenty, man. Coaching one of the best 7-on-7 teams in the nation, getting the majority of the talent in Mississippi. You'll start with, say, the class that's coming out 2023. We have some guys, but if you want to talk about high rated prospect, I guess you start with 2024. You got Jeremy Scott, Callaway, 6'4", 4.4 speed. You got San Francisco McGee. That's at Macomb. He's 6'3", run about a 4.6, probably end up about a 4.5, but completely dominant receiver. You got DeMar Gardner. That's at Leak Central. About 6 feet. He got crazy ball skills. You got Keandre Terry. Got a lot of young guys. And then, so, like 2026, you remember this name, Xavier McDonald. The best receiver, I feel like, in the whole nation in 2026. I skipped over a couple classes to that class. You got Preston Ashley that's in that class, 2026. Got Braylon Womack that's in that class, 2026. Those guys are DBs, those two. You got Aiden Knox at 14 and under. It's at Clinton. Fastest kid in America at 14, runs 11.06, 100-meter dash. Got the fastest kid in America at 12 years old, named Jeremiah Barnett. Those two are project guys that's being taught how to play receiver, but when you got that type of speed, you're going to be recruited really high. We got a couple of some guys I'm missing off the top of my head, like Braylon Burnside that's at Starkville. Really, really good. I don't know how I always leave him out. For some reason, I look at him as an athlete instead of a receiver. But anyway, that's probably the best prospect in the class right now. Okay. Guys that I don't actually have my hands on, but those are a lot of the guys that I have my hands on. I may be leaving some guys out because I'm talking, off the top of my head. Oh, DJ Watkins, he's at Jackson Academy. 2025 DB, really good. Darion, I forget Darion's last name, but he's at Jackson Academy, 6'3", about 280 lineman, 10th grade, going to 10th grade. So Mississippi's pretty loaded with a lot of young talent, man, and I'm just excited to see where they go in their careers.
Yeah, it's going to be good to know, and I guess I couldn't have started the interview off without asking about that. But I do want to talk about your playing career at Ole Miss. A lot of people might not know this, but you were the receiver on the infamous play against Alabama that they reviewed it and said you went out of bounds, and then a red pump went on the field, and it just got absolutely weird. What was going on in your mind when all that was happening?
Let me try to think back. I remember I was thinking there was no way they could overturn it. But as we was on the sideline, they kept taking so long. I was like, they're about to overturn this. That would have been my first big play to me in my career. I think my sophomore year. Was that before I ever caught my touchdown? No. That was after my touchdown. But I was just looking at I always wanted to define a moment. I always look at a defining moment in my career is where it always catapulted me, and I always felt like that would have been the game. But getting it taken from me, I was in disbelief. That's when I learned about how the effective saving. I didn't know how good he was as a coach. I mean, I knew he won at LSU, but I didn't know he was going to turn to what he is now. At Alabama, and I feel like it started there. It started to show his head right there. Of it's hard to beat somebody really good, and things normally fall on their side, and it's the reason why.
Yeah, it's really cool. Now, do you ever think about, like, after you, Ole Miss kind of became known as almost a wide receiver you. After you, there was Dante, there was Laquan, there was AJ, there was DK, all of them. But do you think you and Mike Wallace are kind of overlooked in Ole Miss history as a wide receiver pair?
Yes, because I feel like the down years, especially me, I seen AJ post about the top 5 receivers in Ole Miss history. He left me off and said I may be 5 or I may be 6. I can't remember exactly what he said. And I chimed in with him and I told him, I was like, hold on, how does the OG not be in the top 5? I was like, I'm the one y'all chased. I'm the one who had the first 1,000 yards. I'm the one who broke the single season record, broke the career record, led to SEC. I'm like, most of them guys didn't do all of those hit points that he tried to put in his top 5. And so yes, I always tell Mike Espy, we best friends, partners. And like I tell him and Chris Collins was real good. Bill Flowers, they was good. But I was like, it was some down years in between there. And when we wanted to come, yes, we liked it. We liked them. But I feel like once you set the standard, like what Mike did, being so fast, and what Dexter did, being the jitterbug, me ended up breaking the records, putting us all 3 together. We made it cool, to want to go play wide receiver at Ole Miss. I feel like that's how we got Dante Moncrief. Some people that fell through the cracks that we don't remember, like Nicholas Brazel, like Madison Central. I'm going blank on his name, but all 3 of those guys came like a year after or 2 years. Like, no, I was leaving, they was coming. And, watching a good team is going 9-4, third in the SEC and in the entire SEC, and, just making plays, it makes you want to go play for me. It's just like I had a kid named Deion Smith that came from Provine that watched Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. It made him want to go to LSU. So guys that are there really do play a big part, like right then and there when you get recruited, of like where you want to go. So yes, for sure, I feel like we the OGs, Mike and Dix. People leave Dix out of it too because he played running back a lot, but he started out as a receiver. And Mike set the standard, I kept the standard, and then I set the new standard for the yards in the season, and career yards and everything. And so, yeah, I feel like, as time passed, the older guys always get overlooked. It's just like basketball, the 90s basketball, and people try to down everything they did. Now I'm starting to feel that, I was one of the ones who would do that. Yeah.
You get into arguments all the time with people, and everybody tries to talk down about what Jordan did because of some new player in the NBA, and it was like, whoa. They could almost kill you back then. I mean,
True. But I'm a hypocrite on this one because I'm always against Jordan. Not that he's not the greatest of all time, but I was like, I always looked at his size, his jumping ability versus the guy's size and jumping ability he played against. I just say it's more even now than then. That's my only argument. Jordan is hard to argue anything about Jordan on his average. Mine is his height and athleticism versus anybody he played, like John Starks, Jeff Hornacek, those Hershey Hawkins. Those guys couldn't guard him. They 6'3".
You're right. Anyway, Shay, okay. I was really curious about this. The day that y'all made Tebow cry, okay? The day you made Tebow cry, what was going on with the team that day? Was there some sort of an aura? And describe that catch that essentially was the winning catch of that game. Talk about that a little bit.
Man, this is a good one. Actually, September 27th is my daughter's birthday. She died when she was 3 years old, my freshman year. So, actually, that game, man, I didn't expect to play. Right before the game, like we went out the pregame, I was hurting. My knee was like really throbbing. I told Coach for the game, I said, man, I don't think I can play, Coach. He got, he was upset, like, man, what's going on? And then he was like, okay. And right before we came back out, I it just stopped. His magic just stopped. And I told him I was going to play. And, man, if we speaking on how the team was, we just came off losing to Vanderbilt. So, I honestly do not feel like we thought we could win that game. But I feel like that's when we found out how talented we were as a team, because when Coach O recruited us, we all knew, like, when we seen each other at camp and stuff, like, everybody know, not everybody, but most people have discernment of, like, what's good and what's bad, or is that a quality, teammate? Is he really good? We all thought of each other. And then I feel like that's when it really clicked. Playing that game, they had a lot of superstars, you basically call them in college. They was all Tebow, and then they had all the fast guys with Rainey and Demps, and I'm leaving out some guys.
I think Percy Harvin was on that team.
I leave him out.
Yeah.
You had a lot of fast guys on that team, especially on defense too. So, when going to the catch, it was like a dream come true. You know, you I feel like I don't feel like we had an aura going. We just played ball that day. We was just like, what could we lose? I think we were 2-2 at the time. Just lost to Vanderbilt, played them real well, but 4 picks, 4 turnovers, and it's hard to win a game when a team doesn't make any turnovers. The type of team Vanderbilt was, so I feel like we just came to the game. It's like, man, no, we can't do no worse, and we just played our hearts out. Got a lot of turnovers and things in our way. On that catch, they busted coverage. The safety and the corner went down to Dix on the out route, and we only ran a 2-man combination when I look back at it. And the safety didn't get any width, and I just outran him, caught him. Then I just made sure he wasn't going to catch. When I caught it, this is all I tell my friends, because they always talk about their game. Think of a race car game, and it's in first person view, where you just seeing like just what's in front of you. So I'm just running. I'm like, just don't get caught. Don't get caught. These dudes supposed to be so fast. So that's all I was thinking once I caught it. And then when I got to the end zone, close to the end zone, I started to hear I didn't hear any fans anymore. I was either thinking penalty or something bad in my head. I'm like, how is everything so quiet? Then I turn around, after I score, and I'm like, man, it's silent in here. Why I'm going to that is the old game, NCAA, the old video game, when you have to get real close to each other to hear each other. Mm-hmm. That played the Florida game for the first time. Like, the other stadiums were loud, but like we had to get face to face to hear each other. And so to hear them all go silent when we scored, when I scored that touchdown, it was magical, man. And then for it to be the game-winning touchdown, and now I'm 34 years old, I can say, man, everybody remember Tebow, and I was like, I'm the man that helped make him cry. Me and Kentrell, and Tim.
Yeah. And also, when you scored that touchdown, I swear, now you're not a slow guy, but it looked like you had an extra gear on that touchdown. I think you could have ran with Mike on that touchdown.
I was one of those guys. We never had a track team in high school, never learned how to run, but I was always extremely competitive. Like, so if I caught the ball, I had that Jerry Rice thing going with, like, I'm going to run as fast as I had to outrun whoever was trying to catch me. So me and Dix have raced before, and everybody knows Dix faster than me, but I've actually beat him in a race before because it's just I call it competitive speed. So yeah, the faster he was running, the more fast I was going to run.
It was pretty good. And that 2008 team, at the end of the year, Mississippi State, LSU, those games right there. Is there a better 3-game period for an Ole Miss quarterback than what Jevin had?
2008.
2008.
Oh man, no, he was on fire. He was in flow at that point. He was really, really peaking at that point.
Yeah. It was something else. There's like a 3-pass sequence against LSU that he just made 3 unbelievable passes in a row. And it was like, well, this is special. And I really hate that, like, you guys ended up dropping the game to, like, South Carolina and Vandy and Wake Forest that year. Because by the end of the year, y'all were the best team in the country. It doesn't matter who won the national championship. At the end of the year, you guys were the best team in the country.
I definitely agree. That defense was playing out their mind, and Devin was really on point. And yes, I go back and watch a lot of those old games. Yeah, he was on point. He was dropping them right in the bucket.
Yeah, it's something to see. Anyway, 2009, the catch against Mississippi State that ended up on SportsCenter. It was all acrobatic. Walk through that a little bit.
Okay, you got to go back a little bit. Me and Washington was jawing a lot, during the game. We was, corners like to talk a lot of noise, and then I like to match it the way the type of guy I was. So anyway, it was like a play before, maybe it was a run or something, and like we got the jawing, and then it's a funny story. I figured out he had contacts, and he had colored contacts inside. And I was looking, I was like, man, you got contacts on? So, I was just like, man, what type of mess is that? So when that play happened, I wanted to embarrass him because I'm a guy that loves to be challenged. So if you challenge me, I'm gonna do everything I can to prove something to you. So when he threw the ball, what I really tried to do is to reach over his head. It's kind of like what Julio Jones did to somebody. I can't remember, Patriot defender. When he reached over his head and pulled it over his head, really tried to do. But when I reached and grabbed it, my arm didn't get all the way around him, I don't think. And I tried to pull it, and the ball popped up. And so when the ball popped up, I hit my bat. He was still on the side of me, and the ball just fell. It just magically fell where I could catch it, and I just still had my eyes on it, so I just reached over and caught it. And so looking at it in fast motion, it's like, man, wow, and then to know about the SBs and the catch being up for possibly going to the SBs and stuff. So, and I think it was on SportsCenter for 3 or 4 weeks, so I was just like, man, that's a great moment I'll never forget. And I was wishing that I won the Isthmus with that catch.
Yeah. And that 2009 state game, were you guys overconfident after what y'all did the year before to Mississippi State going in there?
I wouldn't say from the year before. I think from beating LSU. You know,
Okay.
game, I felt like Coach always had a great game plan. Coach Nutt had a great game plan, and he felt the game very well. And he changed over a few things week to week that helped us be successful. And I felt like we took every play that we ran against LSU into the Mississippi State game. And quite honestly, man, any concepts we ran, they kind of ran them forward. That's why Jevin threw like 3 picks, and 2 on was pick six, I think. And I know 1 on was. So I kind of put that on us as a team. Yes, we came out there a little cocky. We came out there a little thinking like, oh, we're going to go, 10-2 at that point, and wanted to go to the Outback Bowl, wanted to go to Florida. So I think we kind of overlooked them, but I have to give them credit, man. They just played out their minds, and they had a great game plan, and they coaches did a great job of scouting our game before and taking away the things that we wanted to do. And it just came down to executing and not executing. We couldn't really get it going, and they found the rhythm. How, when I go back and watch that game, how they found that little rhythm and that little offense blows my mind. But, I mean, it worked, and they caught momentum, and they took that one away from us, man. And we were so mad about that. We wanted to really have a 10-win season, and they just did a great job. I can't take nothing from them.
Yeah, and that rivalry actually got just weird after that over the next decade or so, kind of just blew up.
It did.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Anyway, let's move on to this year's team a little bit. What do you think? What do you think needs to happen for this team to even do, not necessarily do what they did last year? I'm not saying 10 wins, but to have an 8-4 and 9-3 type season. What do you think needs to happen?
I'm honestly very optimistic, man. What Lane Kiffin is able to piece together has been phenomenal to me. The type of coach that he is, and how we was, as a fan base, I felt like we was afraid, like, man, what kids we gonna get? We got to make some moves, got to sign some kids, and him finding his own way to do it through the portal and get the type of kids that he got, it basically matches last year's team to me, especially on offense for sure. I'm not exactly sure about defense because we are missing some big pieces that I felt like if we just didn't have like Chase Campbell last year, that changed the defense. I think he had another year. I wish he stayed. But I honestly believe we can get 10 wins again, honestly. Because you got to look at the other teams that are down, and I feel like we're more talented than. And, he has everything he need on offense. I'm going to speak from an offensive standpoint because I really don't know the defense and everything we got. I've seen pieces that we got, but, like, actually just knowing the defense like that, I don't.